This video is on how I became a successful sales professional and the reality of the financial services industry. As I said in a previous video, there's two ways to enter the financial services industry. You either work real hard in high school and college and have a highly respected degree from a top tier institution, and they tend to favor the STEM majors, the science and engineering, mathematics type people to manage portfolios and to be analysts, and then train them, or they go on to get MBAs, which is interesting because in a year and a half, 2 years, with no prior business classes, a lot of the schools will take them in. So I think that says a lot about undergraduate business and education, is there's just not that much actual knowledge material in business curriculums. An associate degree even gets thin in trying to find actionable, retainable knowledge in business. So if you're one of the other people who maybe has a business degree from a state school or a law enforcement or sociology degree or something, and you're looking for a white-collar job with a good income potential and more freedom of movement and autonomy, financial sales and financial sales management as you move up could be a good career. What they don't tell you is that 99% plus of people who attempt working for these big firms and even smaller agencies fail at financial services sales. So if you are going to succeed, you have to be prepared to do the things that other people are unwilling to do. What generally happens is big name firm that everybody is familiar with because of their advertising and marketing efforts puts you through a screening process of psychological exams. Then if you're selected to be hired, they ask you to make up a friends and family list and people you know that you can sell to. Then you go through some training. They may pay for you to get your Series 7 license or insurance licenses and give you a small stipend to live on and give you a time to sell. They know that it takes time to make sales, even if you're doing everything right and for everything to be processed. And then eventually almost everyone makes sales. But once they get past their college roommates and parents and aunts and uncles and cousins and former business associates, and they have to branch out farther into people that they're not acquainted with at all, they fail. And what happens, let's say the typical person opens 50 accounts, whether it's insurance or investment accounts, then those are divided up, usually the best account going to the biggest, most established producer in the office, and then the manager decides who gets the accounts. And for the people who do stick around, many of them actually quit prospecting and bringing in much new business on their own. The majority of their book of business is just from the attrition of the regular flow of agents and brokers who come in and work hard for a little while, hit the wall, and leave the industry. Many people you know may have been at one time in the industry and don't want to say because they didn't make it. uh, how how did I succeed and be one of the less than 1% that makes a good income in financial services? Uh, and it's not a cliche, it's to work hard. In the Navy, I sometimes would have to work around the clock, literally. If a piece of machinery was broken, I might have to repair it. Then they would call me to quarters, maybe to the flight deck for search and rescue, where I'd have to stand watch and wait. And then my regular watch would come around, and I'd have to stand watch in the engine room operating the machinery and doing some routine maintenance. And then they'd have a fire drill, and because I was a fireman, I'd have to go do that. Or maybe there was new policies for shore patrol, and I'd have to go get briefed on shore patrol. But one thing or another, we were all very sleep deprived, and I was used to just working, working, working. And then as a college student, I didn't watch any television. Um, I did attend all my classes and did my assignments and homework, and was active in all kinds of activities, trying to start a record um, entertainment business, and being a DJ, and just having fun with friends. Um, I exercised a lot, jogged, rode my bike, lifted weights, um, but basically was used to being busy all the time, and I stayed busy all the time. So when I went to work, I thought, well, I'm going to treat this like this is two full-time jobs. I'm going to be the first one in the office in the morning and the last one to leave. And I want to be the hardest worker and make up for my lack of educational credentials um, by just being a workhorse and generating as much activity as I can. So on the stockbroker side of things, and really on the insurance side, you're targeting the 1%. To be successful in financial services, you really need to be in a major metropolitan area that has a large potential um, customer base. In a city of, let's say, the size of Indianapolis, there might be 50,000 households that are affluent and wealthy, and there is some turnover. People like a surgeon might get a better job in Seattle and move there, and then someone fills in his slot at the hospital. And so there are people coming and going and moving up and moving down. So it's not the same people. You need to be a researcher and a private detective and find out where do these people congregate. You might want to try to get on the board of the symphony, the Rotary, the Lions Club, the Masons. Be active in your mosque or synagogue. Um, you might want to sponsor a booth at a half marathon with your company logo on it and give out um, free Gatorade to the runners, because people who do those types of activities tend to be more wealthy and affluent. So you need to, if possible, and it is possible, identify as many of the 1% people, get their name, addresses, phone numbers, find out what activities they are, and go there and try to meet them face to face. It might be sitting in a hospital cafeteria and trying to say hello and greet people there. It might be volunteering at a Jewish summer camp or Catholic CYO, that's their athletics for the city, in the upper income exclusive neighborhood. If there's a wealthy subclass of Roman Catholics, if you're Roman Catholic, and you need to email, mail, and mass market, because there is a finite amount of people. You can call 50,000 people if every day you start and then are persistent. I've seen people try to be stockbrokers and insurance agents, and after a day or two, just leave crying because um, they haven't even gotten any type of a positive response from their friends and family list, and they just can't take the rejection. Being a salesman, what makes you valuable is your resiliency to take the darts of rejection, the hang-ups, the curse outs that people give you when you try to approach them, and don't let it bother you, and just say that's for every rejection that gets me that much closer to my first win. And uh, most people psychologically just can't do it. A lot of people, because you don't have someone looking over your shoulder, you could be calling your buddy from a college or your neighbor who has a job where they can talk on the job, and you could just be talking whatever sports or music or your interests are, and they may not be monitoring you that closely, and you can waste your day away talking to a car dealership about uh, your car or something, and not making those phone calls and getting all those no's. Because all salesmen, regardless of what any sales um, system that uh, they're usually too good to be true. You just have to grind through lots of activity. Then you have to be highly organized and rank people. A CEO might be a 1. You might think you don't have any chance getting this CEO, but you keep them in your database. You keep mailing, you keep emailing. If you have a phone number, you call. If you know what kind of activities there are, you try to meet with them face to face and say hello and offer them your business card. And then you might have a 5, which is a deli worker, but they do have a retirement plan and an IRA. It's not very big, but if you could get them, um, it's good psychologically to open an account and to move some money around and make $100. So you build up a database, you prioritize it, you start with your 1s every day, you call them or go see them, then you get to your 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s, and you run out of them. Then you load more people into the system, maybe talk to real estate agents about wealthy people that could be moving into the area. So it's kind of like being an intelligence agent or a detective. You have to really think about it, and then go out there. If you do get names, let's say from a real estate agent, maybe bribing them with a couple of beers or something, or you promise to give them referrals of wealthy people moving into the city, but they do give you some names um, and phone numbers and addresses and things. Um, then you do have to. You're still going to go through rejection because most of those people, most everybody you talk to isn't going to do business with you. Only a very small percentage are. You might make hundreds of calls before you get someone interested, and then they might go with one of your competitors. So you just have to keep at it. Um, Let me see here. What else do I have? You have to work from the top down. You always want to, go to the CEO or the leaders, and then get referrals. The, After all the thousands of calls and handshakes, you finally get someone who will um, go with you, whether you're selling them a life insurance policy, a disability policy, a health plan for their business, a pension plan for their business, or moving their pension plan over to your company from a competitor. Maybe they just recently purchased a business. So you are always out there looking for opportunities, and you have to work very hard. A little bit negative thing is I found that many of the successful financial professionals are not very knowledgeable when it comes to investing in insurance. They're marketing and sales oriented, and what makes them successful uh, is that they're willing to ask someone to do business with them and hear no, and then go on to the next person and ask again, without it bothering them too much psychologically. Most your insurance agents, they're not actuaries. Um, they know the basics about their policies, but they're not necessarily trying to find the best policy for you. Um, they're really trying to find a policy that is best for them, that will meet your needs. And the same with financial advisors and people, consultants in that area, stockbrokers. Um, their main focus is on sales, sales, sales. They don't have time to sit around reading research reports. I enjoyed reading the research. I would try to read the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, our company's research, um, look into companies myself, and try to play a little bit of a financial analyst. But you really, to succeed, you don't have time. You just have to use the research and take it as it is. And most of it is packaged products. You're placing someone with a money manager into a mutual fund, into a variable annuity, and where someone else, the kids who got the straight A's and the class valedictorians, those people get recruited and mentored to be portfolio managers, and they're on a different hiring track and live in a pretty different world than the sales force. And if you are thinking about going into the industry, know that's what it is. You're always what's called prospecting, looking for business being sold that would maybe make the insurance or the pensions available. Um, you're looking for people being promoted. You're looking to move up. You want to be in at least three civic type organizations, like the Masons, Rotary, church deacon of a large church, where you can interact, and you want to work your way up so that the leaders in all these organizations will eventually do business with you and then refer you back down the hierarchy. Um, that's what the job is. You don't have much time to really look too much at Intel. Um, Most firms want you to, if you are doing individual stocks, want you to stay with their approved list of research. And I could do another video on stock research, but most of it is building up a book of business. And then once you're established, you work very hard, maybe double shifts, just to survive. And then once you've reached a certain critical mass, you can cut it down to a full-time job, and then wait for all the rookies to come and go, and you'll be regularly distributed accounts. And as you've had long-term relationships with people, it's easier for them to refer you to family and friends. You might end up getting the brother of a client who's halfway across the country, but he said good things about you. So the established brokers get almost all their new business just from referrals from existing customers who they've been nagging them for about every time they speak with them. You should ask your customer for a referral. And there's also ways to kind of bribe them into giving you referrals, taking them out to eat or doing favors for them and things like that to get referrals. And then the kind of never-ending chain of younger people or career changers that want to give a stab at the business. That's the reality of it. Be kind. I hope I maybe helped out a young person considering the industry, and have a wonderful day. Oh shit.